Hello and welcome to the 94th edition of Marex Maritime News. The headlines Monday, 29th November 2021. Can we adopt hybrid model for MET? Chinese COVID policies continue to impact cost. Container shipping prices hurting global toy industry. KIRIBATI seafarers unable return home as country bans entry. Shipping e-docks, are the aims being realized? DNV and applied risk to defend maritime sector against escalating threats. The COVID-19 pandemic brought education to a standstill. As we now come to a phase of the pandemic being somewhat over and life getting back on track, countries have been exploring a variety of hybrid learning modalities as they reopen colleges and schools. In maritime education and training, we do need to make a paradigm shift on how to create an environment that enables learning through technology. As maritime educators, are we looking at a hybrid model for the future?
COVID-19 came as a surprise to all of us in early 2020. And even more than 1.5 years after battling of COVID-19 pandemic, we are still fully not out of danger. Thankfully, due to the proactive efforts of Indian government, both central and state, we have managed to control COVID pandemic now. I remember 15th of March 2020 when Directorate of Shipping issued the DGS Order 2 of 2020, which suspended all the activities of training well before the national lockdown. And today, looking back, that was the best and the most brilliant decision taken by the DG Shipping, because of which so many lives have been saved, so many seafarers, basically people who are at post-sea and the pre-sea cadets could reach back home. Recently, we have seen emergence of Omicron strain, which is spreading all over the world. In short, we are not clear of COVID-19 pandemic. Shipping companies all over the world is on the constant lookout for well-trained and skilled seafarers to man the modern ships safely. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, maritime training education has changed over online mode. Most of the theory content of education is done online and the practical part is done physically at the institute. With this arrangement, effective training can be achieved, meeting the internationally recognized maritime training standards. Hybrid model can be extended beyond COVID-19 times 2, and it is very effective. The way of training from the comfort of home and involves only limited travel for physical training. This model should be further tested and tweaked to get a balance between online and offline training for the benefit of seafaring community. This particular year, even in pandemic, we have seen the courses like IGF code course, which have been run on a hybrid mode, wherein the candidates have completed the physical training at the institute on a simulator and online virtual classes. And proud to see that Indian seafarers have been at the helm and they've been taking over the latest vessels, which probably none of the nationality have been able to take. So I certainly feel that the hybrid mode would be the way forward for all the training, at least for the post-sea training. And no doubt for the pre-sea training, the only model which would be recommended would be the physical training, and for the post-sea training, it would be hybrid mode. And that's the future.
In its attempt to keep the coronavirus out, China continues to prohibit crew changes for foreign crew and recently imposed as much as a 7-week mandatory quarantine for returning Chinese seafarers. Even vessels that have refreshed their crew elsewhere have to wait 2 weeks before they are allowed to enter ports in China. Both crew costs and shipping costs have been hit badly.
Crew changes on ships are a vital part of a ship management function. Running ships as crew members is now not an easy task, but a daunting one as well. Every minute of the day, whether the ship is out of port and sailing en route, or carrying out cargo functions in port is full of activity that has a standard operating procedure which needs to be followed to the letter. Though the crew members are well versed with the SOPs, they are still required to read and reread before executing the functions. If a ship is sailing en route, which means between ports, the crew is required to be ready not only for discharging the cargo but also for the numerous functions like port state control inspections, oil major inspections, classification surveys that are due, and internal mandatory inspections relating to hygiene, safety, and environment. This is besides the routine maintenance that has to be carried out to ensure the efficient and smooth running of the ship itself. None of these can be overlooked, and hence the amount of work is a lot that cannot be underestimated. With such overload of work, physical and mental, it is important that crew changes are effected on time or at least without delays. Now, crew changes are becoming costlier, and the costs have always become a sore point, and all attempts to bring them down have been made. Hence, crew changes at ports where costs are competitive have become popular. With the onslaught of the pandemic, it has become necessary to change crews at the loading or discharging ports. This means that the main importing exporting countries, India, China, etc., and particularly China, should rise and reduce the burden on the ship owners for crew changes by following the worldwide norms laid out for COVID quarantine. It is incorrect to just place a blanket ban on crew changes, as that will affect, besides the mental health of seafarers, even the global trade. The COVID 19 pandemic is playing havoc with the lives of seafarers, and if global trade is to be protected, then all countries should start by facilitating crew changes everywhere.
What used to cost $2 to transport the classic toy from China to Los Angeles by ship is now up to $12, representing half the sticker price. That's eating into profits for its manufacturers big time.
The freight rates continue to be high. Some products have pricing power, some sailors have pricing powers, and some sailors do not have pricing powers. On the other hand, customers have pushback powers. What we see right now is the sailors who don't have pricing power also have been able to pass over the inflationary cost to the customer. Ocean freight or air freight is one of the inflationary costs. There have been price increases all around. It is not yet seen whether the pushback effect of customers will start taking effect and will restrain the inflationary pressures. It is something we will have to see over the festive season and see which products have been affected and which products have not been affected. It will be interesting to study because this is a new economics and new phenomena in economics.
The International Organization for Human Rights at Sea, working with global partners, is calling attention to the fate of nearly 200 seafarers from Kiribati, who are currently scattered around the world waiting for a resolution of their travel problems. The challenge comes from the KIRIBATI's government ongoing decision to close its borders to international travel despite appeal from human rights groups and shipowners and operators, including MERS, that have sought to repatriate the stranded sailors on chartered flights. In 2021, several container lines have introduced e-bills of lading (EBL). The purpose of digitalization is to improve synchronization and communication between parties involved, increase visibility, automate processing, support fact-based decision-making, and improve the customer experience. Are these goals being achieved? Threats to industrial cybersecurity are becoming more common, complex, and creative. The maritime industry witnessed a 400% increase in attempted attacks between February and June 2020 alone. Recovery from an attack can cost organizations hundreds of millions of dollars. DNV, the Independent Assurance and Risk Management Specialists, and the Industrial Cybersecurity Specialists Applied Risk will join forces with the aims to build the world's largest industrial cybersecurity practice that will defend critical infrastructure in maritime and other industrial sectors against emergent cyber threats. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. See you next Monday.